Here in this sacred space, which represents for the people of Christchurch a place of community and hope and faith and prayer. And we are grateful and acknowledge the Anglican Diocese of Christchurch for opening their doors to us. And we also acknowledge the common faith and hope that we share with them. This morning I want to take just a few moments to encourage and challenge you as we consider the mission that lies before our church, the mission that Christ has given to us. And as we gather here together on this Sabbath morning, I'm reminded that it's only together with one another and united by Christ that we can indeed fulfill the mission that He has given to each one of us. Together with Christ, we can nurture authentic spirituality and love within our church and towards one another, our families and our community, only together with Christ. Many of you were blessed to participate in the recent men's retreat, and also quite a number of you have been blessed throughout this week of spiritual emphasis, this week of prayer, with the presentations of our guest speaker, times of worship, times of prayer and fellowship. And all of these things have helped to strengthen our faith, strengthen our spirit, and also bind us together in love and unity. There are further opportunities for us as a church here in the city to come together and to be strengthened in our walk with Jesus. And I trust that this morning will be one of those opportunities. But for our ladies, I invite you and encourage you to participate in the upcoming women's retreat. And also to each one of you, young and old, to take the opportunity to be a part of the One Project in November as we gather together with international presenters to explore through the book of Ephesians what it means to walk with Jesus and have Him at the centre of our church. Only together with Christ can we experience as a church organisational health and vitality that leads to growth, as we discussed and shared in our lesson in the study this morning. We've been encouraged as administration here in South New Zealand to see the growth rate of our conference during this current triennium trending above the previous decade or so. However, we're not satisfied, and we recognise and acknowledge that we're falling short of the goals that we have for the growth of our church. But I would suggest to us this morning that the health of our church and the growth of our church reflects our own personal journey, and that the greatest contribution that we can make to being a healthy Adventist church, and indeed a growing Adventist church, is that we pursue our own healthy relationship with Jesus, that we continue to grow with Him, and that the growth of our church is an outgrowth of our own faithful witness. Only together with Christ can we connect and serve our community. And I want to take this opportunity this morning to urge each one of our congregations to engage with the various ministries that the Adventist Church in New Zealand is so effectively implementing, and to use those as opportunities to connect with those around us, people who otherwise we would not have any interaction or connection with, through the ministry of the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, ADRA, through our health ministries, through the ministries of our church to families, and also through the new opportunity that we have with the broadcast of Hope Channel to the public of New Zealand. These are all opportunities for us to connect with and to serve our community and our city. And there are others. Of course, our school represents one great opportunity, and it's always a delight to see our school students representing Christchurch Adventist School so well, and we'll be blessed by a special item from them later in the service. We're excited about plans for the future growth, as well as the development of the campus here at Chch. Hope Channel, as I mentioned, is another opportunity which gives us as a church a way to reach out and to share the everlasting gospel with the public of New Zealand. A Hope Channel is not an opportunity for us to talk to ourselves, not a reason for us to stay home on Sabbath morning and watch the service, not just another alternative channel to entertain us through the week. It's a lot of money just to benefit ourselves. But rather it's an opportunity to serve the public of New Zealand, to connect with the public of New Zealand, to connect them to our church community, and ultimately to connect them to the person of Jesus Christ. Many of you will have already noticed Hope Channel's test signal, and at 6 o'clock today, a regular programming will commence. And for those of you who've missed the news somehow along the way, Hope Channel will be broadcasting on Freeview satellite and also on Sky, channel 204. And in some of our regional centres around New Zealand, Hope Channel High Definition will also be broadcast via the terrestrial UHF signal. And we hope and believe that with your support, your generosity and your prayers, that in the near future, we will also be able to extend our coverage to all of the Freeview High Definition coverage areas, including the city of Christchurch. It's our goal to bring hope to every home in New Zealand. And Hope Channel represents a bold step of faith by our church. It also represents fresh and innovative programming which we hope will engage secular New Zealand and not just be us talking to ourselves. One of the great challenges that we face as a church, and I'm reminded of it as I look around the cathedral this morning and see many new faces. I see a very diverse church. I see different coloured skin. I see different coloured hair, grey hair and young hair at the front and some dyed red hair. Out there as well. It reminds me that as a denomination, as a church here in Christchurch, we are indeed diverse. And it only in a small way reflects the global diversity of the Adventist movement, now exceeding 18 million members. In order to maintain the fragile unity within our church, both globally, regionally, congregationally, and indeed in order to maintain unity within our own families, we need to increase our efforts to act with charity and deference that is befitting the Church of Christ. It's also incumbent upon us that we endeavour to strengthen our identity as an Adventist church, to reacquaint ourselves with the dynamic movement that we call Adventism. And in a time when there is a temptation and perhaps a tendency to settle for creedalism or denominationalism, or in our 100th year as a conference here in South New Zealand, for institutionalism, I encourage each one of us to passionately embrace the movement that has made the Adventist Church strong. And I encourage you to be part of our upcoming camp meeting in January as we recover some of that prophetic voice and vision, as we seek, love and walk and embrace the values of justice and mercy and humility. The challenges before our church are also practical, and as together with one another and with the blessing of Christ we rebuild our infrastructure here in Christchurch. There will be sacrifices to make, there will be struggles to make, and I'm mindful that for many of you, those challenges still lie ahead of you. But let us be mindful that those things are but a means to an end, and the church exists firstly for Christ and secondly for the world and not for itself. Here in this space this morning we're reminded that all cathedrals, all congregations, all denominations are but transitional, and that as this arrow behind me reminds us that our eyes and our hope is by looking upwards. Jesus says, "Behold, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me." And we join in saying, "Even so, come, Lord Jesus." Kia kaha. Stay strong. May God bless you.